all beautiful soul. I have a question for you. Have you ever experienced or noticed there's something that the more you try to avoid, the more you try to push it away or resist, it seems to keep repeating in your life again and again? Well, what if I tell you I have the answer to this? And it's something related to the world of the opposite. Hi, my name is Lena. Welcome to the Wisdom Inside Out. In my first episode, if you haven't checked it out yet, it's called The Awakening Journey. I have a few friends texted me and said, Lena, I really love you mentioned about the world of opposite. So I thought I'd do a little bit more deeper and talking about this world of opposite in details for you. Hopefully it changed your life, because to me, understanding the world of opposite, duality, polarity, it's really a game changer for me. I know this is not for everyone, and I know some people will think this is like silly or whatever, but I am sure people with the same like mind and practice spiritual and dive deep even in psychology world, we understand. So what is the world of opposite? So if you notice in every day around our life, if there's black, there is white. If there is morning, there's nighttime. So if there's dark, there is light. If there is success, there is failure. If there is inside, there is outside. So what is the definitions of the world of opposite? When I say the world of opposite, there's always two ways of looking at things. And the reason I said there's two ways to look at things, to me, if I understand this, it's a game changer. Because to me, the world of opposite is a trap. It's an illusion. Let me tell you why I say it's a trap or an illusion. Let's take example so if you were to look from what we're seeing every day, it's normal to be morning and night. But if you were to observe from the satellite out of space, there's no daytime or there's no nighttime. There's really just the sunlight and what we see because of the Earth rotation. If I can explain in a bit on this deeper level regarding to for me, it's all about the mental perceptions. So let's come back to that. The day and night, what we see, it seems to be true. But really, if we were to observe from the outer space satellite, out of the Earth, there's no daytime, there's no nighttime. They're really just one. And that's what I'm trying to tell people with the world of opposite. If you think that success and failure are two different things, that is a trap. That is an illusion. They are just one, and depend on how you look at it. And this will lead me to explain about ego and soul first. So if you notice, there's two voids inside of us. There's one void is functioned by ego, and there's another void is functioned by soul. And me and Sachin's podcast, if you haven't checked that out yet in the first episode of the podcast, he elaborated really beautifully about the difference between soul and ego. So let me explain ego. Ego is always ahead of you, and ego is usually on the external material, and it's always about resisting, avoiding, and judging. So ego, it's linked to emotional wounds, links to trauma, how you grown up, and the need to control, the need to fix, the need to judge. So ego may looks like you function from a logic. It's like analyzing the situation. And yes, if you are small, you need ego to protect you to stay safe. But when you are becoming adult, you know the common sense, what is the sense of safety. So if you keep follow ego, you will be shrinking, you will be devolving, because ego is not going to lead you to happiness, to true freedom, to true love. And the opposite of the ego is the soul. For some reason, ego is always ahead of soul. And this is why sometimes, it seems to be quicker for us to lie, it seems to be quicker for us to judge other people, because ego is always ahead of soul. And ego is always try to take you away from the truth. It's always try to get you out of the present moment, either get you to the past or getting you to the future. So to me, ego is opposite of soul. And when I'm saying this, it's not to judge ego. Now that I understand this, it's good to have ego to remind us for you to connect back to your soul. So what do I mean by soul? Soul is that for me, before I didn't know how to connect it to my soul. I thought everything just all about me, and there's sometimes I seem to be fighting with myself. Some day I want to be love, kindness, compassion, and some days like no, this attitude, judging, all this. I didn't know there's always two voices inside of me. So for me, soul is all about connected to your deeper knowing that you are safe, knowing that you are right, knowing that this is bad when you lie, knowing that this emotion is called pain, this emotion is called anger, that knowing behind the thought and emotions, that knowing that even though you close your eye and you lie down, there's something supporting you, that knowing. And usually to connect it to soul, you have to slow down, you have to be quiet, like I said, because usually it seems to get so distracted by ego coming first. So an ego is always about the doing, keep doing, finding distractions. And soul is all about slowing down and reflection and going to the truth, seeking into truth. And that is for me, because for me, for now, it's all about living with truth and spiritual awakening. But even though you're not seeking this yet, I think understand this can help you to live the life with love, learning, living, leading with liberation as well. So to me, understand the difference between ego and soul is a game changer. So soul is all about connecting to the creations, whether some people call it God, some people call the universe consciousness, some people call it the big energy, whatever it is, it's a form of source that is much bigger than this body and just this mind. And this is why I really enjoy doing meditation, because that's how I recharge my soul. When I slow down and when I get to connect to that energy, I have more clarity and I have more. That's what I said. The true confidence, the true freedom is coming from within. And the opposite of from within is outside. So the ego, it's more of try to take you to function from the outside, result, outcome, this and that. And what I learned is that the true answer is always the opposite of ego. So you would have think that you were chasing all this outside, like for me, I've been chasing for one after one promotions, for people's love, for all this external validation. There's nothing wrong with it if you are chasing from soul. But I find there's some issues when you're chasing from ego, because to me, when I'm chasing from ego, it's like I'm chasing a sandcastle mirage. It looks so real, but when I get there, it's emptiness, it's nothing. So this is why following ego, it could lead to a lot of burnout, stress and anxiety, because ego is all about the external validation. It's all about resisting what's given to you and lost connections to your soul. We all can access to our soul. It may be a little bit harder and maybe need the time. And this is why I finally understand, like, why am I always constantly doing or constantly finding something to distract me? Because ego is coming ahead of time. It tries to take me out of the truth. It's always ego creating all this fantasy, like become a people pleaser because I can gain love from other people. And as much as I try to do that, I get more burnt out, because the answer, it doesn't lie on the outside. The answer is hidden in the opposite, which is inside. And this is why I said it's so beautiful when I get to look inward, because all the searching that I was searching for is all already within. And this is why I say we are in the world of opposite, because it looks like everything's on the outside. And the more I keep chasing on the outside, the more I feel I'm far from what I'm searching for. And this is why you see, we're all searching for famous, for rich, I'm not saying we all, but some of us will be searching, like for me in the past, searching for famous, to be rich, to be so many things on the outside. And there's a good example. There are so many celebrities in Hollywood that seems to have everything on the outside. Why do they commit suicide? Because the answer doesn't lie on the outside. The answer is lie on the inside. And what I realized is that we all seeking for freedom, we all seeking for connections, but we seem to search on the wrong place, on the external, because ego take us out to the opposite, to where it should be. So, and like whether we want a good connection from my husband, like for me, from my husband, from my kids, from other people, that's because I've lost connection to my soul. And when I start to look inward and connect to my soul deeply, everything on the external just falls into place. So how I look at it is that the outside, it's just like a TV screen, but the remote control is all within. So you have to focus on within, even though the world seems to tell you that the answer is on the outside. So to me, the world of opposite is about opposite. You think that you keep searching, there's problems and solution. You keep searching for solution, but the solution is in the problem. You have to look into the problems, and that is the solution. But ego will try to tell you to stay away from the problem and keep searching for solution, but they never separate. It's always in there, and that's what I meant by in the world of opposite. For a long time I tried to search for success, but I try to push away the failure. And the answer to success is in the failure. It's the last thing that you will thought. The ego will try to take you away from failure. But the answer that we are searching for is in the failure. It's in the opposite. And this is why it changed my mind completely about how I look at things. I look at challenges as a blessing in disguise, because the answer that I'm searching for is in that challenges, even though the ego tell me otherwise. And this is why I said, it's a trap and illusions, because the world of opposite, if you keep just chasing for success, that success is an illusion. It's not real. It was created by ego. If you're just chasing for outside, just the outside, you think everything exists in the outside, you will never find your answer, because the answer of that is in the opposite. If you were searching for everything that you want to have on the outside, you have to search on the inside. Coming from my own experience, I really believe in this, because like I mentioned, it's the world of opposite. Because who would have thought the answer that we've been searching for is always in the opposite, always the one that we always try to run away from. And and that's why I said this, because it changed everything when I stopped looking outward and I changed internal. I start looking inward instead, and everything's around me just changed, because like I said, the remote control is inside, it's not the outside. So if you want to change the outside, you have to change the inside. And the answer to what you're searching all on the outside is actually on the inside. So look inward. And we are functioned by two voices, soul and ego. They do not function at the same time, either one or other way. A majority of us are functioned from ego. And we all still have ego. But when we recognize this, we know how to respond better. So for me, soul is all function about love, kindness, and compassion, empathy, no judgment, and it's all about welcome the unwelcome. So the answer is to welcome the unwelcome. So the answer to success is in the failure. If you're just chasing for success, that is an illusion. It's not real. Ego created that just success alone, and it looks like it's separate. Ego created everything on the external, but really everything's on the internal. So this is why I want to talk about soul and ego first before I go a little bit more about the world opposite. Because what I'm trying to tell you is that the answer, it lies in the opposite. So stop pushing away all this. If you want to be security or safety, you have to lean into that insecurity feeling. It's all about feeling. And this is why I use this method to help my clients. It's to reconnect them back to their soul and let them feel the feeling they try to avoid. Because it's like you build or immunity or vaccination to your nervous system. So for me, from my own experience, I try to resist the feeling of pain and grief with my dad. And what I did, I just pick up more unicorns, changing role at work just to get me more distracted. But it didn't help me. The more I follow my ego, the more I get burnt out. Until I let go and start looking inward. That's when I found the answer. So before I go a little bit deeper, I want to bring out three things. Three powerful statements, and I like for you to reflect on this. And that is, number one is, the more you resist, the more it persists. Have you ever heard that saying? The more you resist, the more it persists. So have you ever experienced this, something that you don't want, but it seems to keep happening? Let me try to prove you how ego functions in our mind. And how is it working? So let me ask you a question. Don't think of a white bear. Don't think of a white bear. When I say this, what does it mean? You probably think of a white bear. So that's what it is. That's how opposite it is. When you say no to something, the ego will take you to the opposite direction. So when I tell you don't think of a white bear, you will think about a white bear. That's how our mind works. And that's I finally understand when I told my kids, don't touch it. When I turned around, came back, they touch it. Because that is the nature of our mind. And the more you resist, the more it persists. Let's just say, take example about your feeling. When you don't want to think about something, you're actually putting your attention and energy into it. And when you put your attention and energy into something, you end up creating more of that. So I take it as an example, the more you resist, the more it persists. It's the same as you try to push a ball in the water. As much as you try to push it, it will try to push back up as soon as you take your hand out. So that's how strong it is. The more you resist, the more it persists. Just think about how you try to push the ball under the water and it's always trying to float back up as soon as you let go. So the same feeling for me. Try to suppress my own feeling. I try not to feel the pain. I try not to feel the hurt feeling, the grief with my dad experience. The feeling becomes stronger, and it came back in a different form. It came back in anger. It came back because I try to push away that pain. I don't want to experience it. I don't want to feel it. It come back in anger, it come back in frustrations, and some people probably experience in addictions, whether in alcohol or in, drugs or whatever. It starts to comfort them. That is their coping mechanism because they try to avoid the pain from the first place. So this is why I have more compassion when people doing something bad to me or they're screaming out, because something inside them is struggling. They were carrying the pain and they didn't know how to regulate it, and that's why they release it that way. So for me, when I see the kids act out or whether someone do something bad for me, I have more compassion because they are carrying that pain and that's how they release it. The reason you give other people difficulty because inside of you will carry the difficulties. The reason you give other people's pain because something inside you will have pain. That's why you release that pain out. And this is why I look inward and focus on filling my cup with love, so I can radiate out love, kindness, and compassion outside. And that is number one. The more you resist, the more it persists. So I take it as try to push the ball under the water and it will push back out. And the second one is, the more you avoid, the more you attract. Have you ever experienced something that you really avoid? Like, for my own experience, every time I wear a white shirt or white dress, this is in the past. I know how to handle it better now. But every time in the past when I wear white dress or white shirt, I try to avoid of getting dirt or stain on my shirt. Boom! I got the dirt and I got the stain on my white shirt. So the more you avoid, the more you attract. And this is why I said the world of opposite. I have some friends that share with me, she try to avoid the feeling of, she really loves her boyfriend and she's too scared to lose him. She tried to avoid of losing him. And because of she tried to avoid that, she become more clingy, she become more overprotective, she become more jealous, she become more controlling. And what happened? It made the other party feel uneasy, suffocate, and she end up sabotage the relationship. They end up broke up because she tried to avoid of losing him, but it end up attracting that instead. So I remember one of my high school friends, she kept telling me like, during high school, she really hated her husband. She doesn't like him, the way he's doing things. She judged him, and then she married him. Because the more you avoid, you put a lot of attention and energy on, and you attracting it. And this is why I say the world of opposite. You would have thought the more you avoid, you push it away. No, the more you avoid, you pull it in, because we are in the world of opposite. And the third one is the more you judge, the more you stuck and attached to it. I used to judge myself when I was younger in high school, that I'm lazy, I'm unorganized, and I stuck with that person for a long time until I let go of judgment. And I remember some friends always judge themselves that I am always late. Because they judge themselves that they are always late, you are stuck with that judgment. And the same with, I used to judge my son, back in the younger day, first time mom. The more I want him to be bubbly, and I keep saying, why are you so quiet? Why are you so shy? And he was stuck with that personality for quite some time until I learned to work differently with him now, so that he's become more confident, become more happy, and change the personality, because I know now that we are in the world opposite. And the more you judge, the more you stuck and attached to it. And this is why the more you judge others, that's because it's a reflection of the internal, that you're still judging yourself. So the more you judge others, that's because you're still judging yourself. And this is why I understand how much peace, how much happiness it is when I start to look inward and start to love myself unconditionally and stop judging myself. It turned out the outside that I welcome everyone and love everyone as much as I love myself as well. Not everyone, but that's what is my practice. I used to be comparing and stuff in the past, and now because the more I love myself from within, and the more it's easy for me to love others as well, and I see everyone just part of me, because I believe in that oneness. And I can go deeper on that, but that's just a brief talking about the world of opposite.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to the Wisdom Inside Out. Stay tuned. Please follow me on this social media platform.